Yeah. Okay. So Sunday morning we had a coach's clinic. Monday we had a pro day. Thursday we got penny in practice, and Saturday we have our blue and white game. And then all of a sudden you look up, it's all this week, and then you look up and our first scrimmage is next weekend. I think, yeah, or the 17th or something, whichever weekend that is. And then not long, and then 10 days after that we got our first exhibition game. So it is right around the corner, and it is happening quick.
Yeah, holy cow! When did you say your exhibition game is?
The first exhibition is the 27th against Rebecca.
The 27th.
Yeah, and
wow.
It is. I mean, it is around the corner, and it's lurking, dude. It is. I feel like I was talking to Kenny today. It has just come so quick.
I was about to say, is this one of the quicker ones for Kenny's 7 years?
Yeah, he made it seem. Yeah, he made it seem like that. I'm
joking. I guess it's his. No, it's his sixth year.
It's a 6 year.
Six.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man! That
dude was 17 years old coming into college with you.
I know, and now he's what, 20? He's still 22 in his sixth year.
I think he's 23 now.
He's 23. He turned 23 in August.
Yeah, about a month or so ago, whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, awesome, man. Awesome.
How you doing?
Good. Obviously, we start practice a little bit later than you, but we got to participate in the BCAT coaches clinic this past Friday. That was a lot of fun. Just getting to have a practice with our guys in front of everybody, in front of all these high school coaches in Tennessee. Got some good feedback, some things that we can improve too. I mean, always looking to grow. So really enjoyed that. And then this week it's just been, back at it, so guys hit some maxes today, which is cool. One of our guys got, I think, like 375 on squat. But all right. So on Friday, coach's clinic, it went well. I mean, Coach Smith just does such a good job. Super professional, et cetera. And our guys did such a good job just, showing up. And I think that can be hard for some teams to have a really solid practice.
Yeah.
Especially when like a bunch of people walk in. So like, what's coming up this Thursday for you guys again? Just remind me.
Penny in practice.
So like when people get to come in and watch practice, and some people try to do things that they don't normally do, et cetera. But, and we might've had that at times, but once we settled in, everything I thought went really well.
Yeah.
Besides that, my dad got inducted to the BJ Hall of Fame. So
congratulations, Houston.
Yeah, and his speech was really good. He did a really good job. And I usually give my dad a hard time. I joke with him a little bit, but God, he was really good. He was really good. So
that's awesome.
Kudos to Dr. Houston Moran, my father. Besides that, man, this week, we're just going through it, trying to get ready for official practice coming up in a couple of weeks, or I guess.
So hang on, y'all's official practice has not actually started.
No.
Okay.
No, okay, because official practice is it just starts a little bit later for Division II. So it'll be coming up, I guess, at the end of next week, beginning of the next week, or the end of next week or the beginning of next. Anyway.
When is y'all's first game?
Our first we scrimmage on the 28th, and our first game is on November 6th.
Gotcha.
So not too far. When is y'all's first game again?
Yeah, that exhibition's 27th, and I believe ours is like the 9th or something, like the first actual.
Really?
The 9th.
Yeah. So homecoming is the 6th. I don't know why sixth, but homecoming is the 6th. And I've heard some really good things about Lee's homecoming, so I'm excited. Yes, like apparently, like it's everybody's there, and I think as far as I know, with the numbers declining and COVID cases in the area, I think we're gonna get to have a pretty close to normal homecoming. So that'll be exciting, and they're gonna go home, and so students are gonna go home for fall break. And I just hope, I don't know, you guys haven't had fall break yet, right? That's coming up for you guys.
Dude, this year's academic, we already had fall break. This year's academic schedule is different.
Well, I mean, hopefully the cases stay the same for you guys or keep declining, because I think that's the biggest worry on campuses is going home for a fall break, a Christmas break, a spring break, et cetera, and then bringing it back and then everybody's shutting down. But hopefully it doesn't happen. But anyway, so I'm really excited for everything going on, just all over the place right now. God, I mean, I'm just ready for the season now at this point.
Yeah. Hang on, let me say, as fun as y'all's homecoming is going to be, Nate, I hate to break it to you, but I think TSU might have Lee's homecoming beat just by a tad.
They will look different. That there's no doubt about that. I don't think we will have the marching band, the dancing. I don't know if we'll have all of that, but I think both will be good. I understand what you're saying, but I think the endorphins will be going in both student sections' brains. So I think in that regard, they will be good. But Asa, welcome in to the Mind of a Coach podcast, episode 56. Asa, I don't know if I can think of a 56. What was Keith Bullock? Was Keith Bullock 56? But that's
no,
football.
Dude. He was 53, man. He was 53.
He was 53. He was 56. I mean, see, whenever we get to the 50s, I immediately just think Eddie House was like every single 50 number. Yeah, he was just number 50, I think. But who was 56? I couldn't tell you.
All right, I have no idea if this is Francisco Elson. Played the first 3 seasons of his career with the Denver Nuggets and wore the number 56. He switched from that number. He has switched from that number. His best season came in 2005, 2006. So I guess our boy Francisco Elson.
You know what's phenomenal, Asa? As we are recording this podcast, Casey Alexander, shout out Coach Alexander, just texted us and said episode 55 was too much.
It just sounds saying it.
So as we're introducing 56, we just get the text. Episode 55 was too much. Kept you on your heels, Coach. So
yeah, that's
glad you listened. But anyway, so episode 56. So Francisco episode. Asa, I guess the first thing I got to ask is, do you have anything to get off your chest?
Man, just, season's approaching. Just good luck to everybody this year. Everybody's been working their butts off. Everybody's been grinding. Been a long summer, but a long preseason. Not just, I'm talking just college basketball in general, man. Good luck to everybody. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. There's nothing like it. Enjoy every day. Enjoy every practice. Enjoy every game. It goes by quickly. Just with the season approaching, Nate, I know we're going to have a lot going on. I just want to go ahead and get just best of luck to everybody and enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm really excited to play. Obviously, you are too, or Coach, excuse me. I'm excited for our guys to play. But gosh, I mean, we've had some really good guests on here. And so good luck to them, obviously, first and foremost. Selfishly, obviously, we want our programs to do well. But it's funny because obviously, but Coach Cole Rose took the head coaching job at Palm Beach Atlantic. And we play him like one of the first games of the season.
Do y'all really?
Yeah, one of the first games of the season.
Oh, why? Now, where is that? Is that at Lee or is that down there?
No, it's at a crossover, and it's in Palm Beach Atlantic, so West Palm Beach. Okay. So that'll be fun. That'll be good for our guys to get down there, get some vitamin D, just really soak up the sun while being indoors and playing basketball. I don't know. But anyway, like I just think about guys like that, just like their first year as a head coach, and I wish him all the best, and who knows if he'll tune into this one, but wishing Coach Rose the best, except for when he plays us. Obviously, I hope that I was going to say that he's not prepared, but obviously the guys are just, he's a preparation, like he's just so prepared. So like, I know he's going to be, but if you just want to skip that one, forget everything that you have been a part of, Coach Rose, for the past, 6-7 years. I won't be too upset at you, but, yeah, I mean, like you said, man, just good luck to everybody, I guess, besides the people that we're playing against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I hope they're safe and they're healthy.
Yes, always.
But that would be a lie if I said good luck to them, I hope they don't have good luck against us.
Yeah. It's like, my dad always used to tell people, never mind. I'm not going to bring it. Not that that's bad. Yeah. Good luck except for when you.
What did Danny D say? What did Danny D say?
He had a conversation with Brandon Wright's brother, Brian Wright, who was going to Lipscomb at the time. Yeah. And obviously, and we saw him at church one morning, and my dad goes, he said, "Hey, I hope you have the best career at Lipscomb ever. I hope you average 20." And I said, I hope you get 30. I hope all that. He said, except for when you played Belmont. And, and so that's where that came from. I want to.
Well, you know what? Him saying that put his kid at Lipscomb. So
no, right? Yeah, and then
I know.
it all comes full circle.
Yeah, it does that sometimes. But all right, brother. Hey, you ready?
Let's do it.
Finally get into shape off of some injuries over the offseason, so we'll see.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, we're going to go ahead and get into it. We got Coach Brandon Baker on the show with us. Coach Baker played college basketball at Belmont University, and he is now the head coach at Goshen High School in Ohio, right, Coach?
That is correct. Goshen Warriors.
Yes, sir. Going on your fourth season or third season?
See here, this is about to be my fourth season on the boys' side, and I had 2 seasons as the head coach on the girls' side before that.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, hey, thank you for coming on with us again today. How's everything going with you up your way?
It's going well. School's going. Kids are in school. COVID hasn't kicked our butt too bad this year yet, so things are getting closer to normal.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you mentioned you were coaching girls a little bit. Now you're the head boys varsity coach. Let's just start off with that. Kind of what was it like coaching girls and then going into coaching men?
Oh man, so it was different in a lot of ways. The first one was just that I was insanely lucky when I coached the girls' side. So I was assisting on the boys' side, all here at Goshen. I was assisting on the boys' side for a couple of years, and then I'd take the girls' head job, go straight from freshman boys to girls' varsity. First time I'd coached varsity in my life, first time I'd coached girls, anything in my life. I didn't really know what to do. And it just so happened that the single best player in school history and the best class that the school's ever seen was a freshman that year. So it made me look real smart. We won a lot of games. I just kept telling them to pass the ball to Paige, and they did, and she scored, and we were good. Made me look real smart. And then after a couple of years of that, the coach that had hired me became the athletic director and stepped down from coaching on the boys' side. And so the opportunity to coach back on the boys' side at the varsity level with one of my mentors being the athletic director was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. And so I switched right back on over.
Yeah, no doubt. Awesome. So how did you have to approach girls differently than you do guys?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure I even know the answer, if I'm being honest with you. We had 2 special groups, and I was so fresh. I mean, I had never, like I said, I'd coached freshmen for 2 years running a system somebody else had put together. And so putting everything together, implementing it, all those things were so new to me. I was just trying to figure out who I was as a coach, much less, I couldn't figure out how to treat them any different because they were girls. Mostly we just worked on the things I knew we needed to work on, and they got better. And there's a few things I had to learn, like when you want a girl to set a screen in one area instead of another, you can't just grab her and move her. You know what I mean? Like I would do with a guy. It's frowned upon. And then I actually had a little bit of a scare, like my first day? It was definitely my first week on the job. And we're putting in very basic read and react principles in, just talking about pass and cut. And I'm trying to show them I know what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about all the different cuts you can do. And again, I'm fresh, and so I'm not using my own terminology. I am just straight ripping off Rick Torbett from the Read and React videos. So everything that he says, I'm saying, and just saying with a lot of confidence and being tall and hoping that works. And so I'm like, all right, here's what you're going to do. When you pass it, you have 2 options. You can either cut in front of them or you can cut behind them. Uh-huh. And I'm saying it loud, and it's just me, 12 girls, and 2 assistant coaches in a gym. And I say, you can do a back cut or you can do a front cut. And I missed my words a little bit, and I'm not going to say exactly what came out of my mouth, but I made the word cut rhyme with front is what had happened to this gym of high school girls my second or third day on the job. So I thought I was going to be fired right then and there. But, again, they let me stay. We won a lot of games, and so I ended up back on the boys' side.
There we go. That's one way to do it. I'm glad you made it past that.
I know. I thought the coaching career was going to end real quick.
That'd have been tough. That'd have been real tough. Get you canceled real early on.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So tell us a little bit what your experience has been like. These going into year 4. Having 3 years under your belt. What's your experience been like at Goshen so far?
Oh, it's been a great experience. I really love coaching there. It's one district over from where I went to school, where I grew up. So my family's all here. My wife teaches at the school that we went to, one district over, and her family's all here. So that's been fantastic. And working for the coach that hired me again, I came in for Scott Wakes as freshman coach, and then he bumped up to AD and hired me to fill his spot has been great. So having a mentor and a coach that I can ask questions and make sure I'm not screwing up, that's just always in the office next door, has been unbelievable. And the kids have just been super fun to coach. They play their butts off. We have a lot of fun. We like to run up and down. We shoot a lot of threes. We trap. We press. it's been a really good experience. And, I'm finding out every year that as I learn more and more, I'm realizing that, I'm less and less confident in what I knew. A couple of years ago, I thought I knew it all. And then every year I learn a little bit more and realize, okay, yeah, I didn't know as much as I thought I did.
All right, so I guess we're working backwards. We just talked about, I guess, your transition from women's to men or boys to, or girls to boys. Working back to Belmont,
Mm-hmm.
did you take a lot of your principles that you use now into your coaching, or did you kind of have to figure some different ways to coach along the way? And when I mean that, just like offensive and defensive schemes.
Yeah. So that was my plan. That was, even when I was the freshman coach, our varsity coach allowed me to kind of put in our own sets. I had to run our base motion, but I could put in our own sets. And so it's pretty simple to me. I played for Coach Bird. He'd ran great sets for my entire career and gave us free points every game. So I was just going to run those. It was going to work.
Yeah.
And then I realized that those sets are not nearly as good if you don't have 4 elite shooters on the perimeter and 1 All-American in the lane with 5 guys that all have super high basketball IQs. And you start running that with a freshman team that doesn't have those things. It's not quite as effective. But I definitely have taken a lot from him. Probably the 2 biggest things I think I've taken from playing for Coach Bird would be, number one is just the value of spacing. I mean, I think anybody that plays against us understands that I value the spacing in terms of just our positions on the floor, but also the ability to shoot the ball, create that space in the lane. Like I said, we pull threes. And the second one is just what an efficient practice looks like. You know what I mean? Like I spend so much time trying to figure out how to plan the right practice and different ways to do different things. And it's been so helpful to me just to have that memory of like, okay, I know what the gold standard looks like. I'm just trying to get as close to that as possible.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking, oops, my fault. When you're talking about efficient practices.
Yeah.
Is that flow? Is that what you are running in your practice? A combination of both? What does that look like to you?
For me, it's how little wasted time can we have in practice and how much learning and valuable repetitions can we get in practice. Mm-hmm. And so, a battle that I've been fighting internally is, how much do I want to split practice into, skills and drills? How much is going to be breakdowns of what we want to run? How much is actual 5-on-5 live? And I've gone back and forth in my career and I keep finding myself just trying, to get closer to, okay, how much 5-on-5 can we get that is meaningful? How much can we work on our stuff without the practice just being a bunch of drills? And like I said, I've evolved over the years, but at this point, I'm closer. I think I'm closer to getting to the efficient practices we had at Belmont.
That's interesting because so Coach Bird always talked, or when he came on the podcast, he talked about how live is like, that's what he just believed in was just 5-on-5, just 5-on-5 and just rep it and then stop and teach. And then like Asa and I played for Casey and he was just in it for you. He is more like no wasted time, like you're mentioning, no wasted time. We're going to do some 5-on-5, but I'm not going to stop it every second. You're going to have to figure it out. And then if there's something really like he's getting on to the point guards, really, I mean, I couldn't tell you. Asa messed up and it was my fault sometimes. If Garrison didn't get a play right, it was 100% me and Kenny's fault. So I just think it's interesting. And especially, I guess you played for both. So just say more lean towards Casey kind of practice, I guess.
Yeah, my vibe at practice is a lot closer to Coach Alexander's vibe than to Coach Bird's. I do kind of have an urgent manner to me, I think, in practice of getting from one drill to the next. And like I will, I talk about, that balance of practice, but I err on the side of live. I'm like, okay, let's just go play a segment of 4-on-4-on-4. We're going to play a segment of 5-on-5 live. We'll stop and we'll talk about it, but I'm not going to stop it very much while it's happening. Though I have the biggest, one of the things I love most that Coach Bird did was they called them breakdowns. And I think essentially what Coach Bird was able to do is, especially as I study more about coaching and the philosophy and technique behind it, is Coach Bird was just elite at coming up with these 3-on-3, 4-on-4, sometimes even 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 small-sided games that were very specific to what we were going to have to do in the 5-on-5 live for the next team we're going to play. So I remember running like 2-on-2, 3-on-3 ice ball screen drills. I remember a 3-on-3 and 4-on-4. This is how we're going to switch the down screen or the back screen down screen Americans play. And it was efficient. We went in there. The coaches were ready. Coach Bird's not even saying anything. He's just kind of hovering around midcourt, and I'm usually with Ayers on the side with the bigs. And they're taking us through something, and Casey's got the guards on the other side. They're taking them through something. And then all of a sudden we go live. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and the rest of the practice is just live up and down with occasional stopping. And so those breakdowns and, like I said, the efficiency of just how little time we spent on it, but the skills and the things that we were working on that applied to the game, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, that's great.
I remember, Nate. I mean, there were some drills that we did. I remember, you'd have the skip pass, and they'd be coming and setting the stagger screen, and you'd have to, you're in help, and then you got to go close. You got to, get around that stagger screen. Those breakdown drills that you're talking about, Brandon, were some of the toughest drills. At least, obviously, I was very laterally challenged. I remember those were like the worst drills for me. But Nate, did you have one more thing, or was that it?
Yeah, my last thing was going to be it's different than the breakdown drills.
Yeah.
But how was it adjusting from, I guess, a freshman head coach to a varsity head coach on the girls' side? I mean, just the adjustment to a head coach, I guess.
Massive. And one of the things that I'm most grateful for to my situation that I'm in, Scott Wake for hiring me all 3 times. And just kind of the luck that has fallen into my lap of being able to, be a varsity basketball coach, 3 years out of college. And then, here I am 32 and I've coached 6 years of varsity. It's just how big of a difference that one seat makes, being able to, during the game, it's a little bit of a difference, but what I've found is the biggest difference is everything else. The fact that, right now I got notebooks of stuff on my desk of planning out, okay, this is the base defense we run, and this is how we're going to tweak it against these teams. And we know we got to beat them, and they got tough bigs. So how are we going to look to do that? And just picking the philosophy on both sides of the ball and then understanding it well enough to explain it to my staff and then to my players in a way that seems simple and easy to implement is just light years different than when I was receiving those directions from one coach and just translating them on to the players.
So when you're talking about all of this, your preparation, you have all these notebooks, you talking about the breakdown drills. Obviously, you're working on offense and defense. How long in advance are you preparing this? All right, do you have a list like, okay, by this date, I'm hitting ball screen coverage. By this date, I'm hitting, lift, or I'm playing out of this. I'm working on slips. I'm working on read and react. Like how far in advance are you planning, and what are you planning on these specific days?
That's a great question. So I do have a rough draft right now of a plan. Like I said, our practices start the day before Halloween. So I have a plan right now of in essentially that month, because we play the weekend of Thanksgiving. In that month, what things I know we need to get in, and the general order that I want to get them in. I don't want to get more specific than that, because that's the other thing that I've found is if I plan too thoroughly, the best laid plans of mice and men, right? Like it's just going to go out the window by the third practice anyways, and I'm going to be mad to spend all that time. But having the big picture idea of, okay, we want to make sure we get these things in, and I generally want to put the order in of X, Y, Z, and then seeing where we are in our first scrimmage or after our first few practices and adjusting accordingly has been what I've found to be the most efficient way. But again, like I said, and we're using our off-season stuff. Like right now, we're spending a lot of time on our dribble handoff reads and our two-man game in the pick and roll. And we do a lot of stuff with drive and kick reads. And so in Ohio right now, we're allowed to do, that's the other nice thing is the year I got hired as the head coach, Ohio high school implemented the rule that you're allowed to do four-man workouts in the offseason. And so our whole state, most people were not used to that. They didn't know what to do. And I'm fresh out of college. I just finished four-man workouts with Brian Ayers. I was like, yeah, I got this. And so the varsity coach was like, yeah, take it and run. And so I was able to take care of that. And so we're using those to implement a lot of our stuff now, so that it's not too rough of a situation once the season rolls around.
Gotcha.
So the things that like you kind of that you said, you mentioned you had all these notebooks and stuff. Is this stuff that we're doing and philosophies and schemes? And are these, obviously they were fresh on your mind because you were, you were so soon out of school. But were these things that you were thinking of and writing down and taking note of before you were even coaching, or maybe even thought about coaching too?
Well, not before I thought about coaching. I had, kind of made the decision. But before I'd even committed to Belmont, I knew I wanted to get into education. I knew I wanted to teach and coach, and I knew this was the end game. So I certainly wasn't planning things before that. But I do, I'm somebody that learns things from writing things down, which my students will probably laugh at. I teach English, and I don't have them turn in a paper all year long. Everything is online. But for my brain to work, I got to write it down. And so they're on their computer all day, and I'm writing down stuff.
I'm totally with you on that.
So I do have notebooks from, my first, second years coaching freshmen of what I would do if I got a program. And usually what works for me in these notebooks is I find ideas that are interesting to me, and then I start working out if it could work for us, what it would look like within our system. I start sketching things out, and then I start to get the idea if it's something that is worth implementing, because again, we have very limited time.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to, if I put in too much stuff, we're going to be terrible. And so I got to pick 2 or 3 things that we're really good at and really hit those. And so kind of spreading the net wide, bringing in a lot of things, and then narrowing it down as I dig deeper into it. And then hopefully go into the season with 4 or 5 things that I like. And then based on how scrimmages and practices go, narrowing that down to 2 or 3, and then tweaking those 2 or 3 things as we go through the season. That's kind of the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Okay. So you mentioned before you even got to Belmont, you knew you wanted to get into education. This was the end goal. Do you see I'm gonna come back to Belmont, but do you see yourself being at one high school or this high school for, until you're done working, or until you no longer have the desire to do it?
That's a great question. That's something I've thought about a lot recently. More of just like, what is it going to look like when I decide to hang them up? I've seen a few really talented coaches around our area start to do that, and it's made me think. And I don't know. I mean, right now I'm in a great situation. I live 8 minutes from our school. I think our school district is growing. Our youth program is really rolling right now, and so I don't see any reason to think about leaving. But I'm also smart enough to know that, things can change in a heartbeat. You never know what's going to happen today or tomorrow. And so I'm not really thinking about that. I'm certainly not somebody who's, planning out what jobs I want to interview for. I haven't interviewed for another job since I've been here. And so if something happens and it ends up working out as best for our family, we'll have that discussion. And if nothing like that ever falls in my lap, then I would feel great, hanging up my coaching whistle and watching my grandkids play Goshen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, normally I would ask, what went into your decision to go to Belmont or whoever it is, wherever you went to school, but I'm kind of tired of that question. So I'm going to ask you, and I asked one of our buddies last week, I asked if college basketball was everything, was what he expected. I'm not going to ask you that exact question. I'm going to just, did you get what you wanted out of your college experience? And if so, and why? And what made it worth it to you? And, just tell me about that a little bit.
Or what didn't make it worth it to you?
Yeah. Just
okay.
Did you get? Yeah.
First off, good question. As a listener of the podcast, I can appreciate that you're mixing it up. As somebody who is sitting here looking at my notebook with prepared notes for that exact question, I'm a little frustrated right now. But
hey, that's my bad, because I did text you that I was gonna probably say, and then
It's all good. It's all good. I planned for more than just that question. So
hey, we're coaches. We got to make adjustments. We got to be on our toes.
Exactly. This is one of those adjustments we got to make after the first practice is crap, and you got to throw out the whole offense. Okay, so the question was my college experience, my college basketball experience specifically. Was it or was it not everything that I was looking for? Is that basically what we're going for here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the short answer is totally was. Mm-hmm. I love my experience, and if anybody were to hear my answer and then Google my stats from college, they might not understand why I'm saying that. I think my junior year, I averaged a career high 5 points a game. Yeah. It might have been junior year. I think it was 5.
Yeah.
So I certainly wasn't, the go-to scorer. I think for 1/3 of my sophomore year, I was the starting 4-man. But then for the rest of my career, I was somewhere between 6th and 9th. Mm-hmm. And so impact on the floor, playing time was different than I had expected. But I just love my experience. I'm still trying to figure out if, for everybody, it's different when you go from high school and you're the big fish, and you go to college and you realize there's a whole bunch of big fish out there, and life's a lot different. And I know that I was lucky enough to play for a Hall of Fame coach who also happens to be a fantastic human being, and a staff of people that are equally as awesome. So I don't know if I just kind of hit the jackpot and landed in basketball Nirvana, or if just college basketball is awesome, because there's a lot of people that know how to play well. And I just happened to get with a bunch of guys that could really play basketball that I got along with. So the short answer to your question is it was great, especially for somebody who knew he wanted to coach and teach. I could not have fell into a more perfect situation. I got to learn from Rick Bird for 5 years. I redshirted, so I got 5 years of practice time with him. Yeah. Not to mention the fact you can see what Coach Alexander has already done and what he's going to continue to do, and I got to play under him. And just the whole staff, all those guys. Coach Eastrom deserves a shout out at this point. I think we all know Coach, and so he deserves a shout out. I think Coach Eastrom's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that's my guy.
He's the best. Yeah. So when I got married, I texted him the morning I got married. Just he left with Coach Alexander. After my sophomore year.
Text, or was it just what did you say in the text? Was it just it was just like a hey, good morning.
You got to tell us now. You got to tell us.
I do. I shouldn't have let into this.
You don't have to get too deep. Were you saying like
every single word?
Or was it like, hey,
this is going to go into a different direction than you think it's going to go. So it was a group text. I texted him and Alexander, and I was like running around doing errands to get everything ready for my wedding day. And one of the things I was famous for at Belmont was talking. Just like in general, I was always talking, but like I also knew that like if I was loud enough on defense, I could like trick coach maybe into thinking that I was better and I could get more playing time. And so like they used to make fun of me because every time the ball would cross half court, I'd say, here it comes. I say, here it is. And I was just loud and obnoxious. And Casey especially used to just make fun of me. He's like, Baker, like we can all see that the ball's crossing half court, man. I don't think you need to yell out to the whole team like the play is starting. We're all watching. But I couldn't help it. I just was always talking the whole time. And in general, I think it was good for our team. But at one point in my career, Coach Alexander, and I was hanging with him and Eastrom, and Coach had made a joke about how at some point during the wedding night, that's as specific as I'm going to get, that I would say, here it is, right? Like that was his joke. And so the morning of the wedding, I just wanted to let those two guys know that day had come and that I appreciated everything that they had done to help me survive in life to get to that point that a fantastic woman would agree to marry me.
Dude, that is incredible, man.
Here it is.
That is incredible.
Oh my! Here it is.
Back to what you said earlier, and kind of, you said if somebody looked up their stats, I say it all. You said you got what you wanted out of college. I say it all.
Sure.
I say it all the time. College basketball didn't go anything as I expected, but it couldn't have gone any better. Right. The group of guys I was around, the coaches I played for, the school we were at, it was another sort of amazing, and you get to cap it off with a NCAA tournament.
For sure.
You mentioned that you knew early on you wanted to coach and get into education. When did you know that, and how did you come to realize that?
I think I locked into it my junior year of high school. For me, I'm sure there's more layers to it, but I'm pretty sure just all the most impactful adults in my life, and not even outside my parents, because my parents were my first teachers, were just teachers and coaches, and specifically English teachers and basketball coaches. Yeah. I mean, it's that simple. And those are the people that mattered the most to me, that helped me get where I wanted to go. And I knew that I wanted to have that impact on others. And I knew that it was a chicken or egg thing. I don't know if those teachers had an impact on me because I enjoyed English or if I enjoyed English because of them. Either way, that was a subject that I wanted to do. Plus, I was really excited about going to college and not having to take math or science. I was looking forward to that a lot. But yeah, I knew then. And so one of the best parts about Belmont, the experience with the players, winning, and the coaches is all great. But my senior year, since I redshirted, my 5th year, I student taught during the season. And so for the first semester, I was student teaching at Hillsborough High School. And so I was missing 2 or 3 practices a week. And luckily, coach at the school would let me hop in some open gyms to stay fresh. And I would go teach a full day. And if practice was right, I'd grab a banana or a sandwich and hop into practice. And luckily, by that point, 5th year, I feel like I had a pretty decent IQ, that I knew most of what was going on. So I wasn't too far behind. And Corey Schmidt was my roommate at that time, who was a manager, and basically he would just take notes at practice, and we'd go back to the room, and I'd buy him what was at the curb at that time? Quiznos. I'd buy him Quiznos, and then he would show me what was going on in practice on a whiteboard, so I wouldn't get too far behind, and then I'd just keep going to practice. And I don't think there's a lot of coaches, period, definitely not in D1, definitely not the ones that had the success that Coach Bird had, that would have been just fine with the rotation player missing 60% of practices all preseason to go student teach. And so couldn't be more thankful that I ended up in that situation.
Yeah. That's amazing. All right. Okay. Well, so we had one of your former teammates on, Keaton Belcher, and he told us this story.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. I have a lot to say about Keaton's.
I know. And so I'm going to let you rock. Keaton told the story. You listened to it.
Okay. So I know what story you want me to tell. and we're going to get there. But there's another part of Keaton's interview that we just have to touch on. That I was just like so I listen to you guys when I'm in my car. That's when I listen to my podcast. And I was like in my car driving alone, just like yelling in my car at Keaton for mistelling this story. And I was getting mad all over again. So Keaton's last story on his on the podcast you guys did was when he beat Coach Bird in golf, and Coach made us run the conditioning test the next day.
Yeah.
Keaton made it seem like it was some sort of coincidence, like he wasn't 100% sure if it was, his fault that we were running the next day. I would just like to state for the record that it was 100% Keaton's fault. That I've never been more mad at Keaton in my entire life. We were at Coach Bird's eating barbecue, and I was eating like my third cookie as Coach Bird walked out and said conditioning test tomorrow at 6 a.m. and I wanted to punch Keaton in the face. It was 100% Keaton's fault. He should have known that. I cannot believe he even tried to beat Coach Bird in golf the day before.
That is hilarious.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
So Keaton, it was your fault.
I'm glad we set the record straight on that.
Yes, very upset about that. But the way cooler story was that when we played at Kansas, Lawrence Fieldhouse, I got to shoot around, just me and Tom Watson on the court the night before the game.
Yeah.
And I really am still not sure how it happened. I know that I think he had a daughter at Belmont, and he was a big Kansas fan. And so Coach had linked up with them, and like he was at our pregame meal the night before. And so he just went to the shoot around, and we did our shoot around. All was normal. And then I stay after to get some shots up, and he starts rebounding for me. And I understand now how important of a human being Tom Watson is, but at the time I had no clue. Like I just had no idea.
Yeah.
And so he starts rebounding for me, and I'm getting up shots, and he's giving me feedback, like, hey, put a little more arc on it. Like, I'm like, okay, Tom, here we go. And I'm shooting, and then we start playing horse. And the other very amazing and important person that was in that gym that night was Old Man Ayers, Coach Ayers' dad, who is another one of my favorite human beings of all time. Mm-hmm. And he got really tickled when I hit this one specific horse shot, and he just really wanted me to hit that shot against Tom Watson. And I was able to pull it off, and Keaton described it. I would put my feet on the baseline from about 10 feet out, and I would jump and put my hands across my body and make my body basically become a 45-degree angle with the ground, and then just chuck it at the square and bank it in. And Tom just had no answer for that shot. You know what I mean? Tom couldn't hit that shot. And so I was able to take home the dub and horse. And so who knew that all these years later, that stupid shot that I spent time in my driveway when I was 12 would come in handy.
Wow.
And then you would get to use it on Tom Watson.
Yes, exactly. That's the time that it would come up.
Now, how many times did you use that shot? Did you pull it out a lot? Was that the only time? I mean, was this in the
repertoire? Yeah, that was a go-to for sure. Yeah, that was a go-to for sure. Yeah, if we started playing horse, I was especially – I could shoot, but on that roster, if I was just shooting three-pointers, playing horse after practice, like I was going to be out real quick.
Yeah.
And so I had to get weird. And so I was either going to half court, or I would do that shot, or I'd do some shot that had to go over the backboard in some way. And I kind of lived in that area because I knew that if I was, I'm not going to be Ian Clark and horse shooting top of the key threes. It's just not going to happen. And so I had to get creative.
That's fair.
Dude, that is amazing, man. Well, I'll tell you what, you mind doing some rapid-fire questions with us real quick?
Let's do it.
I know you're prepared for these, right?
Oh, yeah. I wrote them down. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Last technical.
First year coaching the boys.
He's reading them off, Asa.
Oh, I got this one memorized. So I've gotten 2 technicals as a head coach in my career. Both of them were on against the same team, and both of them were the first year that I was coaching on the girls' side and the boys' side. And both of them were on the first ever youth night when I was coaching. So both times I get the job. We play one of our arch rivals, Western Brown. It's youth night, and so it's more packed. Every 10-year-old in the district is there watching with their parents, and I got teed up both times. But I will say, in classic Coach Bird fashion, no foul language was used.
Yeah.
I was loud. I was more disrespectful than I should have been in one of the cases, but no foul language was used. So, and both times we were losing when I got the technical, and we ended up winning. So.
Oh,
I'll stay by it.
Just inspiration. You were just trying to inspire the team.
Yeah,
exactly. Get them going. All right. So, never been kicked out of a game?
Not as a coach. I've never been kicked out of a game. I've fouled out of my fair share. I think my last play as a college basketball player was fouling out against Arizona in the tournament.
Oh, really?
Yes, which I'm proud of that.
I was at that game.
Yeah, those guys are freaking big, man.
Yeah.
It was a bad matchup for us.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever been tossed from a game. But I will say this: the best game I ever had in college was at Marshall, my sophomore year. At 14 points, went 4 for 10 from 3. And it was the game that Coach Bird couldn't coach because the previous one was at Miami, Ohio, when he, for the first time in his career, got 2 technicals and thrown out of the game.
No way, really?
Yep. So we go to Miami, Ohio, which is 40 minutes from my house. So
Yeah.
all my friends and family are there. We play terrible. I play terrible. Coach gets 2 T's and we lose. It's the most un-Belmont experience ever. And so we get on the bus. We're going to Marshall. Marshall's way better than Miami.
Yeah.
We end up losing at the buzzer. We got him back later in the year, but we end up losing at the buzzer. But Coach Bird wasn't there, so Coach Ayers became the head coach of that game, and Coach Ayers is my guy. And so I went in with the
had all the confidence
I had in my career, and I made my first 2. So then I just started really letting them fly, and like people in the gym were like, I could hear like fans yelling like after I made my first couple, like, he's the best shooter in the gym. Don't let him shoot it. And I was like, man, I got you guys fooled. You have no idea what's going on. That is not what it says on the scouting report.
That's hilarious. All right, okay. Ever done to basketball on a 10-foot rim?
I have, yes.
Yes. All right, good. I figured you had. Okay, you are up 3 at the end of the game. The other team has the last shot. Do you foul or let it play out?
So philosophically and mathematically, I say you got to foul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That being said,
mathematically, I love that answer. By the way, yeah.
You have to do it. Like the numbers just say
you have to do it.
That being said, I never do it, and here's why. First off, we don't practice it enough, and so if I'm not going to practice it in my limited time, I'm not going to spend time doing it. Secondly, when I put my lineups together, I absolutely value skill and shooting over size. So I'm typically playing 4 guards and a big, which means if we foul them, put them on the line, we give up that offensive rebound too often for me to be comfortable with that situation. So philosophically, it's the right move.
Yeah.
Just for the teams that I've had, we don't do it.
I got you. All right, okay. You leaving your best player in with 2 fouls in the first half?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the personality of that player, we might have a more stern talking to or, stare down conversation. But yes, I am.
Got you. All right, okay. You going for the tie or go for the win?
Typically, I'm going to draw up some sort of action where we're making a read, and it kind of comes down to what the defense gives us.
Yep.
That being said, win.
Yeah. All right. Casual or professional on the sidelines?
100% casual. I'm making the big move this year. I've always been a polo and quarter zip guy, making the big move from dress shoes to tennis shoes this year. I'm very excited about that.
All right.
Yes.
Are we going some J's, or are we just going, like the Nike Pegasus or something?
That's a great question. I'm still making that decision. I got several tabs on East Bay open on my computer right now with different options.
Yeah.
We are Under Armour school, though, so I might have to go Under Armour. We'll see.
Okay. Got you. We're Under Armour now, too, by the way.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Early morning practice or evening or night practice?
Early morning.
Early morning. Why?
Yep. I'm waking up at 5:30 with my 2.5-year-old and 9-month-old anyways. So
okay.
Let me wake up with them, take an hour to eat breakfast, and I'll meet them at the gym.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. If you were not coaching basketball, what would you be doing?
So when I had heard you ask this question to other guys on the podcast, my answer was always like, well, I'm probably still teaching. I enjoy teaching. I love teaching. And I think I would enjoy teaching and just going home after school every day. But the more that I've been thinking about it, I think I'll just have to coach something else. I think I'll just have to learn a new sport and just be like, hey, soccer coach, football coach, volleyball coach. Let me be your assistant. Let me learn the stuff. And then I'll go help you out.
Dude, I like that answer, man. The coaching aspect is fun. It gets overshadowed because there's a lot that goes into it, especially on college.
Coaching is teaching, right?
Coaching, coaching is teaching. You're instructing. Absolutely. The instructing part of it is a lot of fun. All right. What's your handicap in golf?
The best way I can describe it is that last time I went to Nashville for McHedgepeth's bachelor party, we went to Top Golf, and the greatest golfing accomplishment of my life was that I was not the worst person there. That's awesome.
I like it. At least you were swinging a club, though.
I was. And Spencer Turner gave me tips every time I swung it to try and help me be better, but it didn't help.
Now Spencer's a good golfer.
He is. I was trying to listen. I know he knows his stuff.
Now, he is annoying to play with. I hate playing with the dude. I actually like playing with him, but he is a really, really good golfer.
He is.
All right, okay. Should every team make the conference tournament?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
It's tough. I think that the system is already rigged to value and give to value teams that get hot at the end of the year and go on a hot streak, especially for the mid majors. That's kind of their one crack. And so shortening that field to the teams that at least semi belong in that conversation, I think makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. All right, last one. LeBron or Jordan?
LeBron.
Thank you. You're
Team
Ohio.
LeBron. I'm with you, Asa.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm an Ohio boy. I did spend quite a bit of time during LeBron's career in Miami rooting hard against him. Just hard against him. Anti-Heatles. But since he moved to LA, I've kind of come around a little bit, and I've matured as a fan. And I understand and can appreciate what he brings to the table. And I'm going LeBron, mostly because he's not done yet. As good as his year was last year. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that he's going to keep going. Plus, I hear the toughness argument. I hear the LeBron takes, was it the vacation during the middle of the season?
Yeah.
I hear all these arguments. I hear the argument that MJ is a better competitor. And all I'll say is LeBron continues to be an NBA basketball player every year, which Michael Jordan was unable to do. That's what I'll say. LeBron has not left to go play another sport yet. I know the Cowboys are calling, but he has not left to play another sport yet. So I'm gonna go edge for LeBron.
Also, I would have to say that if he left to go do another sport, it wouldn't be in the minor leagues.
No.
Hey, preach,
I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones would sign him like right now, right? Like he's offered him multiple contracts already, right?
Yeah. Nathan.
Like what's a dude's name? Plays for the Cowboys? Seahawks? Didn't they just draft the dude from Baylor or something like that?
Oh yeah,
what's
Vital, Mark Vital.
Yes, yeah. And there's another one that just caught a touchdown the other day.
Well, Mo Alley Cox from BC.
Yeah, Mo Alley Cox. Yeah, for the Colts.
Mo Alley Cox is playing.
Yeah, so I'm saying
Mo Alley Cox is in the NFL. LeBron could easily play in that. Mo Alley Cox is a big dude.
My second college basketball game ever, I matched up with Julius Thomas. And I'm just saying, like, I guarded him pretty easily, and he was like an all-pro tight end. And there's no way. Like, if he can do that, then LeBron would be the best ever tomorrow.
I love it. Well, Coach Baker, man, appreciate it again. Where can everybody find you on social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you use?
Oh, man. Okay, so Twitter handle is CoachBaker_GHS. That's where I am. So if you want to see tweets about how our high school team is doing during the winter and all my little coaching things. But basically, the only reason you should follow me is because I follow a lot of other smart coaches and I like their stuff. And if I like enough stuff, it pops up on people that follow me's feed. So I'm not tweeting out a lot except for like scores and highlights of our team during the winter and then liking smarter people than me stuff the rest of the year.
I got you. Well, you can find myself on Instagram at the Ace of Spades with a Z on the end. You can find me on Twitter at Coach Ace of Spades. You can find Nathan on Twitter at Coach Nate Moran. You can find Mind of a Coach on Twitter at Mind of a Coach Pod, and you can find us on Instagram at Mind of a Coach. Coach Baker, best of luck to you, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Really love what you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach.
See you guys.